And hi, Beth. Nice to see you too.
Hello, long time no see.
Yeah.
Okay, Dean Payne, we're ready to get started.
Great. Well, welcome everyone to the Institutes and Special Programs certificate ceremony. So glad you could all join us. I'm Steve Payne, Dean of the Law School, and we wish we could be with you in person, although we're looking forward to doing that tomorrow for our commencement exercises. It's really important to us to be able to recognize our graduates today who have earned certificates in these programs. And I'm joined by an illustrious group of faculty who direct these programs. And the first I'll turn it over to is Professor Emeritus Jeff Watson.
Thank you, Dean Payne. It's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to see everyone. I am the director of the Comparative and International Law Institute, which it was founded in 1985 by my predecessor, Rhett Ludwikowski. Sorry, I'm trying to find my camera. Can you all hear me okay? Can anyone not hear me?
On this end, Professor.
Okay, great. And so I'm only the second director of the program. It was founded by my predecessor, Rhett Ludwikowski, in 1985. Rhett founded it really on two pillars, on the private international law and public international law. He thought correctly that a well-rounded education in international law should partake of both halves of the profession. So our program reflects that initial vision. We have requirements that students take public law courses, in particular public international law, the course I teach. But they also have to take private international law courses, in particular comparative law, a course in business or trade law, and then finally an elective that can either be public or private. So our graduates come out with a foundation that allows them to pursue jobs either in the public sector, in the government here in Washington, or in international organizations, or in international courts, or the private sector, law firms, think tanks, academia, and general counsel. So all our students have had this, I think, pretty rigorous training, have been required to learn both the private and public side. They've also all had to go through me. They've all had to take my course in public international law. I think every one of today's graduates, I think every one of you had me, if I'm not mistaken, for public international law. So I can personally certify to employers and to others that these people know the fundamentals of international law. I've met with each of them. I've taught each of them. I've grilled each of them in the classroom. I've made them learn the basics of treaty law and of the use of military force and human rights law, which is the sort of organizing theme of my public international law course. We have graduates who will be, some pursuing jobs in international law, some not, but all of them, I hope, will carry forward into their chosen professions an awareness of international law, bring international dimensions to their work. So even if people end up working in, say, commercial law, doing UCC work, I hope they'll remember what a treaty is. Hope they'll recognize when an international law issue requires them to look at the UCC Sales Convention or such. And I hope also that international law will enrich their life. That they pick up the newspaper, like today's New York Times, encounter a piece on the front page piece on the troubles in the Middle East, and reflect on what they've learned here at the Catholic University of America, and so I also hope it makes our graduates more rounded, more prepared citizens. So with that, also I wanted to explain why I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt and a lei. I always do this at these ceremonies. When I teach my course in public international law, I stress to students, you've got to work hard as professionals. Law is a profession. It requires a lot of hard work and devotion to clients, and clients come first. But I also stress to them that lawyers lead stressful lives and that they need to unwind after work. And so I sort of try to wear my sunny shirts and wear leis to promote an awareness that there's a sort of fun side of life that you shouldn't lose sight of when you join the legal profession. And so normally when we have an in-person session, I put leis on each person. I'm going to do that virtually as I call your names now, and I'm ready to do that. So I'll go ahead and just call everyone's name and virtually give you a lei. So Catherine Rose Afzal. John Clement Batt. Rebecca Lynn Benedetto. Keisha Marie Burns. John Nicholas Chach. Whitney C. Fox. Carmita Hedman Sequeira. Amanda Jo Holbrook.
Aloha.
Aloha. Catherine Caroline Marie Kelly. Kathleen Brennan Mock, sorry. Armin Moseni. Morgan Lee Oliver. Peaches Nicole Ostalaza. Caleb Joseph Parker. Helena Ariel Rowland. Congratulations, certificate recipients. Well earned. I don't know if we're supposed to applause virtually, but I'll applaud. That concludes my remarks, and I'm honored and delighted to turn the podium over to my colleague, Professor Sarah Duggan.
Thanks so much, Professor Watson. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a joy to be here with you today as we celebrate the accomplishments of our certificate winners. The members of this class, the class of 2021, have overcome a lot to be here, including, of course, the global pandemic, but they made it. They're remarkable people, and that's particularly true of today's certificate winners. They not only have persevered in their legal studies, they've mastered challenging areas of the law in particularly difficult times. It hasn't been easy, but here they are. Congratulations, certificate winners. And congratulations to you too, family and friends. You supported these wonderful people through their journeys, and we're so happy that you shared them with us. As Professor Watson said, I have the pleasure of directing the Compliance Investigations and Corporate Responsibility Program, or CICR for short. CICR is the newest of the law school's institutes and programs. We recently completed our second year, and I am so very proud of the 6 students, soon to be graduates and alums, we are about to honor. They had the vision to embark on the study of new and rapidly growing fields of law, as well as the ability and the dedication to complete a series of demanding requirements for this certificate. Now, in case you're wondering, well, what is this compliance investigations with corporate responsibility? Well, compliance is about helping entities ranging from businesses to not-for-profit entities like this university to government agencies understand and follow their legal obligations. Corporate responsibility is about the impact that organizations have on employees, customers, consumers, communities, and the environment. And lawyers working in these fields need to be able to get to the roots of the complex issues that are going to inevitably arise in organizations these days. So they need to know how to relate to people at all levels, how to identify and preserve relevant information, how to navigate organizational government structures, and how to manage complex inquiries. And that's what the investigations component of CICR is about. It focuses on these kinds of skills. What means the most to me is that in a very real sense, the lawyers who work in compliance and corporate responsibility are the conscience of their organizations. It's because they help organizations adhere to the rule of law and consider the impacts what they do, whether it's on their constituents, on our fragile planet, or on all of us, because what organizations do matters so much to our individual lives. And when you think about it, isn't that the kind of thing we need? A kind of corporate conscience these days? We can build sophisticated investment banks, innovative tech companies. We can create influential charities and sometimes even effective and efficient governmental agencies. But when any of these organizations operates outside the law or violates the kind of inherent rules of goodness in our society, too often the result is the kind of tragedies we read about, because real people suffer, whether the transgressions are by corporate managers, line employees, police officers, or members of Congress. We need lawyers to help organizations and their managers, their leaders, meet their obligations. We need lawyers who are knowledgeable, who are highly skilled, and who are caring and committing, people who can build strong cultures of compliance and corporate responsibility. And I am so happy to say that that's exactly what our CICR certificate winners are ready to do. They're extraordinarily bright and talented individuals who worked in jobs and externships in all sorts of legal disciplines, from banking and the financial sector to disability law, education, environmental protection, government contracting, healthcare, human resources, immigration, information privacy, international transactions, labor and employment, and risk management. They already have helped public and private sector organizations, once again, including our own university, develop innovative compliance policies, investigate wrongdoing, and build good, strong cultures of corporate responsibility. They've worked on daily operations and global supply chains. And I have no doubt that our CICR certificate winners will make this world a better place. And so it's my honor and my great joy to award the certificate in compliance, investigations, and corporate responsibility to the following students. Whitney C. Fox, Denise Isaac, Tiffany N. McGintigart, Matthew Eric Marchiori, Lauren Alessandro Sormani, and Daniel James Warren. Congratulations, everyone. We are so proud of you. You're the best. And now I'm delighted to turn over our virtual podium to my colleague, Roger Colenvo, who directs our wonderful law and public policy program. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah, and good afternoon, everybody. So yes, I'm Professor Roger Colenvo, and I direct the Law and Public Policy program. And I said good afternoon already. I'll say it again. Hello, parents, family, friends. It's strange to be looking into the camera and seeing myself and not seeing all of you, but I know you're out there. I'm delighted to be here today to celebrate our graduates with you. So my main job is an easy one because all I have to do is praise the accomplishments of this group. And they've really been quite a group, so that makes my job pretty easy. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge, as I think many of us have, and praise this class in particular for going through something none of us obviously could have predicted, but I doubt ever in the history of CUA law has a class had to face the sorts of challenges that this one has faced. And so I genuinely tip my hat to them for their perseverance and their grit. It's really taken a lot to be a law student in these times. The other thing I want to say is that I truly envy this generation of lawyers And I say that because although it is rather daunting to be starting a legal career, come out of law school, and the world is becoming, it seems, a more divisive place. There are many real challenges we need to face as a society, and there are, in fact, existential threats, some would say, that need to be addressed. And you as young lawyers are going out into this world. And I say that I envy you because I truly believe that you are entering a moment of real opportunity that doesn't come around a lot, and that you have an opportunity to make meaningful and good change for the future. And I think it's important that you remember that in the early stages of your career, because lawyers are vital to the smooth functioning of our civil society. I hope you feel really good that you have chosen to become a lawyer. Lawyers, whether they are studying the public policy field or otherwise, they are the diplomats. They are the change agents. They are the ones who broker transactions. They are the ones who write policy. And they are the ones who advocate strongly on behalf of their client. But at the same time, the best lawyers are also the ones who understand how to disagree amicably and with grace. And that is very, very important to the profession and to the world that we live in. I think our students are ready to be lawyers in this generation. And as I say, I envy you. So the public policy program is designed to give our students an opportunity to see what it means to be a lawyer inside the Beltway. And the Beltway here is really a metaphor for any sort of a public policy political process. So it could be federal, state, or local. And the way the program is set up, of course, is through some specialized courses, but also through externships where the students will work somewhere, usually in the Washington, D.C. area. And the students find the externships on their own based on what they're interested in. And to give you a sense of what our students this year have done, we have had externs at the Obama Foundation, at Catholic Charities, at the Catholic Legal Immigration Network, the DC City Council, the DC Public Schools, and we have the veritable alphabet soup of government agencies. So we had externs at the FAA, the GSA, the FCC, and of course, we also had placements on Capitol Hill, both as externs and as employment. Now, the externship experiences are really designed to help ground the students so that when they enter their final year of law school, they're ready to undertake a year-long project, which we call a practicum project. And I think the public policy practicum is unique, maybe to Catholic law, well, certainly to Catholic law, but maybe to law schools across the nation, because what the student does is they come up with their very own public policy campaign based on an idea that they're devoted to and care about. They have to come up with the idea and then figure out how they would implement it if they were in a position to do so. And to give you a sense of what our students are like, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the 8 projects that they worked on. So one student worked on a project to reduce waste in the District of Columbia consistent with the DC mayor's goals, the so-called zero waste effort, and to maximize recycling and reduce waste. The student's proposal, she was lucky enough to see her proposals become law in the fall, and so she pivoted to work on best ideas to administer those proposals in the spring. Another student took on no less than the opioid crisis, coming up with a creative and really overlooked way to minimize the supply of opioids, because oftentimes during surgery, opioids go unused. And the question is, what happens to these unused opioids? And there's a way to deactivate the opioids so that they can't be used in a way that would harm people in society. So that was one project. Another student's project was to provide access and improve access to mental health care for low-income children as part of the Head Start program. And this is one of those areas that's just fascinating, because if you're able to implement a change within one program, if it's successful, then that can be a model for programs across the nation. And our student was actively involved in that. Another student took on the problem of food security by proposing that the state of Mississippi, one of the few remaining states that has a regressive tax on groceries. And this student said, look, if you're paying tax on groceries, that really harms your ability to purchase food. And that's something that we need to address. Another student focused on the use of hazardous chemicals, PFAS or polyfluoroalkyls, which are often used in consumer products. And I wish that student every success because I don't really want those chemicals in products that I am using. Another student looked to find ways to promote and improve retirement security by strengthening the process for divorcing spouses to secure their rightful retirement benefits. And the two final other projects both relate to immigration. One student looked for ways to incentivize states to provide education for children that were unaccompanied at the border and left in lengthy delays. Obviously, they had many needs, but one of those needs is there's a severe gap in their education. Another student looked at ways to improve pro bono access to lawyers for undocumented immigrants. I think, as you can see, the incredible breadth of these proposals is a real credit to the students, and also a shout out to Professors Netcham and Moffitt, who guided them throughout the year to develop these proposals. And to give you a sense of what they do, and it's not just the idea behind the proposal, but they also come up with ways to potentially implement them. So one student wrote an op-ed, which was published in the local newspaper to advertise their policy idea. Other students drafted legislation. One of our students has legislation that is currently in the mix of the federal congressional appropriations process. Another student has an amendment that could be included as part of the fundamental retirement law, ERISA. Other students looked at ways to utilize federal-state partnerships by providing federal money to encourage states to conduct programs. Another student proposed a bipartisan commission to take a look at the policy issue, and I think was gratified to see that just recently the EPA has actually launched a commission along similar lines proposed by this student. So I am just really impressed by what our students have done, and really gratified that they've spent their 3 years at CUA Law with us. Some of them have plans after graduation. Some are going to law firms, to a federal government agency, to a judicial clerkship, to Capitol Hill. Others haven't finalized their fall plans yet, but I have every confidence that they will find their way and land very, very well. So let me, I think, now announce the names. Michael Anderson, Brenda Jacqueline Keels, Christina Lara, Patrick Cornelius Millette, Seaton William Parsons, Rachel Page Simoneau, Michaela Ray Stover, Mary Catherine Turgeon. And finally, I have the distinct honor to announce that 3 of our students were awarded the Doolin Haynes Fellowship. And the Doolin Haynes Scholarship is made possible by a generous grant of the Haynes family to students who have shown a dedication to public service. And I want to acknowledge the 3 students of this year's award. And they are Patrick Millette, Rachel Simoneau, and Mary Turgeon. So thank you very much. Again, it's a privilege, and I will now pass the baton on to my colleagues, Professor Winston and Professor LaBelle.
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? Professor Lavelle?
Yes, I'm here. I think, I think I'm going to speak first, so I don't know if we should switch the spotlight. Great. Okay, hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to all of our Institute graduates. Congratulations. And we are going to be talking about our Law and Technology, or LTI, as we affectionately call them, graduating class. Professor Winston and I are thrilled to be the co-directors of LTI, and we have been for several years now. And I'll just say a little bit about LTI and then turn it over to Professor Winston. So LTI has played an incredibly important role at Catholic law for over 3 decades at the law school, in the communications bar, and in the legal profession more generally. Our law school has a rich history in this area, including with our founding dean, who was a leading patent voice of his time. So the history with law and technology at Catholic law goes way back. So we are really thrilled to celebrate this special day with all the LTI graduates and with their family and friends who are here with us today. And it's just been a real pleasure. We know, I think between the classes we teach, Professor Winston and I have taught all of you, in many cases, multiple times in civil procedure, contracts, administrative law, patent law, trademarks, intro to IP, remedies. I may have missed a course, but I think that covers what we teach. And we've both really enjoyed having all of you in class. And we've also enjoyed seeing how much you have grown, right? And how all of your accomplishments over the years. And we're confident that you are all going to have fruitful legal careers, and we will sit back and wait and watch you evolve from law students to lawyers, which is always wonderful to do. We hope that you all will stay in touch and come back and visit the law school. Current students always love to have alums come back, and we also have a wonderful alumni network with LTI, and there will be many opportunities to stay in touch. So this is certainly not goodbye. So enjoy today, and of course, we'll look forward to celebrating with everyone in person at graduation tomorrow. Okay, I will turn it over at this point to Professor Winston and to talk a little more about the LTI program.
So congratulations again. LTI offers students 2 different tracks from which to choose: communications law and data privacy, or intellectual property law. Each LTI student pursues the curricular track that fits his or her particular area of interest, but there remain many opportunities for LTI students to engage and collaborate as a group. Our LTI students, many of them participate in the Catholic University Journal of Law and Technology and on Law Review. LTI students, through the Communications Law Student Association, the Law and Technology Student Association, Sports and Entertainment Law Society, and through our wonderful Law and Technology Institute Alumni Association, have the opportunity to work together to plan and participate in programming on a wide range of law and technology topics. And many of our students, their highlights of their time in law school are hearing our alumni and our speakers talk about issues that are relevant and that are alive, that are changing and evolving as we speak. And I know that as you guys go forward and become lawyers, we look forward to seeing your impact on those issues. I'm going to turn it back over to Megan now. And congratulations.
Okay, so before turning to our graduates, we just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Constantia Dedulis, who does so much for LTI
and for all the Institute and for all of our students. So we wanted to thank her before we wrap up our portion here. So thank you very much, Constantia. So we have, as Professor Winston may have just mentioned, we have 18 graduating LTI students, and these students have really impressive backgrounds and experiences and all different personalities. And these students have participated in a variety of internships. I think the list is too long to go through, but internships in private practice, in the government, in with trade associations, and public service. So they've gotten real world experience that way. They've, of course, taken a variety of law and technology classes, learned from faculty, but perhaps more importantly, learn from each other and learn from their colleagues and other law students, and have participated in a wide range of extracurricular activities. So law review, Journal of Law and Technology, the National Telecommunications Moot Court competition, just to name a few. So we have many night students, evening students who are LTI certificate recipients, as well as day students. We have students who have taken many courses together, many who have not. But most importantly, we just want to acknowledge what a wonderful group of students we have. And as others have said, this has been a particularly difficult a year and a half, maybe not quite year and a half, but a little bit more than a year. And you should be especially proud of yourself and of what you've managed to accomplish under extraordinary circumstances and in really difficult times. So with that, we will go ahead and announce the LTI certificate recipients. Congratulations.
The first recipient is Rola Ilo.
John Clement Batt.
Alexa Shirley Cavasso.
Ryan Lewis Carroll.
John Nicholas Cheech.
Rurik G. Ellings.
Caleb Addison Holland.
Heather M. Howell.
Jeremy Allen Levin.
Brandon Michael Livengood.
Peaches Nicole Austin.
Jeanette Panning.
Philip Perez.
Alex Joseph Volvic Philogene.
Stephanie Rachel Swirling.
Savancha Saskia Swider.
Stephanie H. Toussaint.
And Jessica Wilkerson. Congratulations. Yes, congratulations to everyone. And at this point, we will turn it over to our final Institute leader presenter, to Jeremy Kidd, to present the Securities Certificate recipients.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. And what a great day to honor all of our dedicated students. It takes a lot of commitment to earn any one of the certificates offered at the Columbus School of Law, and it isn't for everyone. But for those students who have a better sense of where they want their careers to go, and they have the willingness to put in the extra effort, it yields rewards both during and after law school. And I've had the privilege of serving as the director of the Securities Law Program this year. I've been very impressed with each and every student in the program, their achievements, and as has been stated multiple times, the way they pressed forward in the face of unique trials, the unique trials of a world in pandemic mode. I always feel like I need to explain why securities law is important and interesting, since I think a lot of people imagine something far more boring than the reality of securities law. Securities law is the area of law that governs our financial markets, one of the primary drivers of our prosperity. Of course, financial well-being is not the end-all be-all of our existence. So securities lawyers have to keep focused on the fact that the law impacts individuals, and those individuals are always working out their own path to human flourishing. Securities law handles that interaction. In addition to being more important than we might imagine, securities law is also far more common. I have a former student who does primarily family law in North Carolina, and he regularly expresses surprise at the occasions he has in family law to use the expertise and knowledge that he gained in securities law. So our students who are getting their securities law certificates this year have gained expertise and knowledge that will serve them well, even in areas where they might not imagine it. So in order to receive the certificate, each recipient has to, as is always the case, run the gauntlet of scheduling, making sure that they took all of the required courses in the right order so that they would have enough time to also get enough elective and co-curricular courses under their belt to be here today. Making that schedule in the first place is a monumental task and one that I'd never volunteer for. And all of those moving parts often means that important classes are only offered at inconvenient times. Right? That's the case for anyone who's committed to a particular area of law. So I imagine it's true for all of our recipients, not just those with securities law. But these students have been willing to make those sacrifices because they know what they want from their legal careers. The securities law certificate recipients also need to have one unpaid externship in a securities law related position. This year, securities law program students worked at the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA, the Investment Advisor Association, the Investment Company Institute, the World Bank Legal Vice Presidency, the United States Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, Americans for Tax Reform, the Shareholder Advocacy Forum, Aiken Gump, and our own low-income tax clinic. So stated in different terms, our securities law students represented the Columbus School of Law at the national and international level, in private practice and with public interest entities, and with powerful entities and the humblest of clients. Each of our certificate recipients have represented the law school in at least one of these positions. The securities law certificate also requires active participation in program activities. COVID, as in so many other cases, changed how we thought about activities and participation, but the securities law students kept pressing on, encouraged by the Securities Law Student Association Board, led by their president, Eden Olson, vice president, Nico Valderrama, and alumni outreach coordinator, Patrick Hall. They hosted virtually and in separate events Securities and Exchange Commissioner Hester Peirce and Dahlia Blas, director of the Division of Investment Management at the SEC. They also hosted a panel discussion with some of our excellent adjunct faculty, describing how the panel members got interested in securities law, how they see the industry evolving. And just recently, the securities law students hosted a student alumni mixer as well. The securities law program has a number of traditions, including participation in Fordham University's Kaufman Moot Court competition, where our students have been competing for the past 20 years. Students from the second year class were able to participate virtually this spring, but I wanted to recognize that 2 of this year's certificate recipients had prepared to compete in the 2020 Moot Court competition before COVID caused Fordham to cancel it. The securities law program also awards one-year scholarships to securities law program students who have demonstrated both academic achievement and a commitment to the goals of the program. And I would like to recognize the 2 scholarship recipients among this year's certificate recipients. Those are Patrick Hall and Nico Valderrama. Each certificate recipient deserves far more recognition than we could reasonably provide in the limited time we have today. So without further ado, let me read the names of the 2021 recipients of the Securities Law Certificate. Greta Malgozada Schwalik, Jennifer Marie Desi, Anna Maria Gonzalez, Patrick R. Hall, Christina Mitsopoulos, Eden Jasmine Obina Olson, and Nicholas Valderrama. I anticipate that, oh yeah, sorry, pause for clapping. It's terrible when you can't hear the clapping. Anyway, so I anticipate that each one of our certificate recipients this year will soon take their places among the ranks of the Securities Law Program alumni, continuing the tradition of strong graduates begun many years ago. And I look forward to watching them succeed, serve, and bring deserved recognition to themselves and, of course, to their alma mater, the Columbus School of Law. And with that, I return the virtual podium to the Dean.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, and thank you to all of our directors. In fact, our directors are very gracious in acknowledging what an impressive group of students we have graduating from our certificate programs this year. I add my congratulations and esteem. It is an impressive group who've already done wonderful things, and I expect that you will do even greater things to come. But I also want to recognize Constantia Dedulis and all of our directors and co-directors, because of course, just as our graduates had to really endure an unusual year and almost a half, as Professor Lavelle said, during the pandemic, so did our faculty and staff. And they really care about you students. They really wanted to make these programs work in this virtual environment, and they did an outstanding job. So I ask for a round of applause for them as well. Thank you all. And last but not least, let's thank your families and friends for supporting you through all this. Some of them are here with us, I can see, and it's wonderful to have you participate. And I know that our students are very grateful for your involvement and support. With that, we'll call it a wrap. Congratulations to everyone, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for commencement. Thank you all very much.